guys, I thought I'd film this whilst it was still fresh in my mind. Not been a great day today. Well, yesterday is now currently 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking about yesterday. I had a bit of a setback to do with work. I was meant to go back today, well, yesterday, as my first shift back in 6 months after being off sick, but I didn't go back because there's something that happened. So tonight, about 11 o'clock, I went for a walk, which I do because it just helps me clear my head. I usually go for a run, but I've been having hip problems recently, so I didn't want to do it. I went for a walk. I walked a good half hour, 45 minutes before I had to stop because I was in too much pain. So I had to get a breathe. Yeah, because I was in so much pain, I had to stop. I stopped. I had my headphones in to like stop the voices because I do hear voices. So I had my headphones in and I didn't realise what was going on around me. I've been there about 20 minutes just trying to settle the pain. A woman saw me. I was near a main road and a motorway, so I can see why somebody was concerned, but I wasn't doing anything dangerous. I was just sat down. The next thing I know, the police turn up with the lights on. So I knew it was the police because I saw the lights and I was like, oh God, I don't want to go. The officer got in front of me and was talking to me. I didn't realise he was there for a good 5 minutes because I just thought, oh, it wasn't for me. Next thing I know, he stood right in front of me. So I took one headphone out so I could show them that I wasn't actually ignoring them. I had my headphones in. And he said, Emma, can you stand up? And I said, no, I can't. And it wasn't because I was being stubborn, it was because I was in so much pain with my hip. So he drags me up, which isn't a good thing. Like, he grabbed hold of my arm. As I said in one of my last videos, that touching me really does trigger me because of something that's happened in the past. So he just grabbed hold of my arm, so I went like that, just to get him off me because I was getting triggered. I was already in a bad place mentally. I was having voices, I was having flashbacks as it was. Yeah, so he grabbed hold of my arm and the other officer was behind me, which I didn't know, so he grabbed hold of my other arm. So that was it. I was gone. I just went into meltdown. They pulled me up off the floor, but because they were still gripping onto me, I was fighting them and trying to get away. The officer on this side stood on my foot, and I have problems with my feet as it is, but they don't know that, so I'm not going to hold that against them. They just were trying to keep me there. And they put handcuffs on me. I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, but my wrists are super red right now. And I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't in a dangerous position. I wasn't doing anything dangerous, which is what it states in my care plan. If you find me like that, thought my door was open then. If you find me like that, that's when they're meant to remove me. But I wasn't doing anything dangerous. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sat there having a fag, trying to relax. But I'm trying to stop the pain, because that's one of the reasons I went for a walk, because I know in my head if I start taking painkillers because of how I was feeling, I would just end up taking the stash that I've got, and I've got multiple packets which I use as like a security thing for me, which is weird. I'll go into that if anyone wants to know about it. But the officers really just, they don't, that team, because obviously I don't know how every force works, but my area there's 5 teams. There's the team 1 who are the best. I've got to say they are the best. They've dealt with me so many times. They're the ones that I spoke about in the last video where they just like touched me once, got in front of me, and that was it. And they knew how to keep me calm and like convince me to go home without going back out. But this team, I don't know what number they are, I just know that team is team 1 because I speak to them. Yeah, so I was on like the other side of a crash barrier on a bypass, which you can walk on. I was like, I'd walked up the path, and then I started feeling too much pain, so I stopped. And I like got to safety, away from the road, away from everything. I was next to a bridge, but not on the bridge. I was next to it. Anyway, these officers were like, "You need to climb over this barrier." Me in absolute agony. I was like, I can't do it. Obviously, by this point, I was already in meltdown, so I couldn't speak. Once I'm in meltdown, that is it. I can't speak. I can't get the words out. Um, so there was at least 5 officers that I saw. There was 2 officers that I saw like holding on to me, and then there was 2 of them. These were four male officers, which I've got no problem with males. I'm not. That wasn't anything that happened to me. And I know there was a female officer because that was who's driving the van, and she was really rude to me. She was like, "You'll do everything difficultly. There's an easy way and there's a hard way, and you'll always do it the hard way." And obviously, the way I was thinking, I felt like just saying, "Just get off me. I'm in pain." Not just with the handcuffs, which were really hurting me. It was my hip. And then they tried to get me in the van, and that was it. I just couldn't. I don't like enclosed spaces, especially when I'm in meltdown. I can't do enclosed spaces. So I was like trying to. I kicked the door so they couldn't close it. So then they kicked me in the leg. I haven't got my shoes next to me, but I was wearing running trainers, which are really comfortable. Yeah, so they kicked me in the leg and like put me in the van, and obviously I was in meltdown, so obviously I just started whacking my head against the side of the van. So I now have a lovely bump on my head, and I think it's been bleeding, but I'm not sure. All the way back, which is a good 5 minute drive at least. I don't know, I lose track of time when I'm in there. Obviously handcuffs on, I couldn't see my watch. Yeah, I know they stopped to get another officer just to hold me, like to hold me back in the van so I couldn't hurt myself, but I was still, when I'm like that, I'll find a way to hurt myself. Brought me home, and they barricaded my back door, so as I said in my last video, I've got 2 doors, so I can't just go straight through, but they didn't barricade it very well. I just was able to like push it open and then walked off. They didn't come back to get me, they didn't follow me or anything, they didn't do anything, but they said, the woman, the police officer in the van, the first one, said, "If you carry on hitting your head, we're taking you to custody." So, hurting myself, I would get arrested, which I don't think is right. It actually states on my care plan, if I've hurt myself, to take me to A&E. So that's really what they should have done, but they didn't, which I don't want it. I didn't want it anyway, but I needed to walk. And by this point, because it sent me into meltdown, I knew if I'd have gone back upstairs, that was it. I was taking this overdose that I've got, and I just couldn't risk it. I was still at the right point in my head to know that the overdose was there, and I knew I was going to do it, but I could stop myself. Sometimes I'm past that point now, and I'll just take them. And I walked back out, went straight off. A few times the police officers passed me, but because I wasn't doing anything, I was walking on paths. Yeah. But then I started feeling pain again, and I was like, if I sit down again here, because the pain had got that unbearable, and it got in the same place, exactly the same place as I got it earlier. That's why I sat down. So I was on the other side of the road this time. I just decided to cross the road and sit on the same bridge, because it's like a bridge with like multiple bridges, different ways off it, different over the road, over the path, over the river. So I went and like, it was one that had a ditch and I could hide in the ditch, so I knew if I sat down they couldn't see me. Obviously it being pitch black, the sun's coming up now, but that's about it. Sat there for a good hour and a half, nearly fell asleep, but I was in that much pain. As soon as I moved, it was painful. I haven't been to the doctor, by the way. I just don't want to go. I suffer with many things, and I just don't want to have another thing added to it. So I walked the long way back because I wasn't being seen by the police. So I was like, I'm going to walk the long way back where they won't see me. Excuse me, I haven't slept. Excuse me. So I walked back, but that was it for this story. But I just thought I'd share my story because I've shared a really positive story with the police and how they dealt with me. It's just it was a different team to the team that we found that kicked me that time. I don't know what team they are. I'm not too sure. But this team, I've always had problems with them. I've never had a good experience with the team that I had tonight. They're just rude, and I don't think they see mental health as a serious thing. Like, I've been called attention seeking, um, just stubborn, which I am stubborn, I know I am, but that's not the way to treat me. It states in my care plan, which the police have my crisis care plan, because I agreed for it to be shared with them because I don't want them to do things I don't want. Like they're not gonna 136 me anymore, which is a good thing because there's no point 136 in me. Hospital's not the right place for me as it is. I'm trying to get my life back on track. Like I'm going back to work as I said after 6 months of being off. So obviously today would have been stressful for me even if I'd gone to work. But I got to work and they said they didn't need me, which really annoyed me because obviously I got ready, got myself to work, psyched myself up for it, and then got there and was like, oh, I don't need you. Not great. So I just was wanting to calm myself down. I was having thoughts as it was anyway. But I just don't know if there's a right way to talk about the police. Like they're meant to be there to help you. They're meant to protect you. But if I ever had a problem and I knew it was that team or the other team that I've had a problem with in the past that was on, I wouldn't ever want to ring the police. Which I know it shouldn't be like that. Like I got, I used to do a lot of running before my hips started playing up, and I got egged on the way home one night. I rung the police. Well, the non-emergency number because I didn't see it as an emergency. I just wanted to report it instead of the people going around egging. I'd already got the number plate because I'm quite fast at thinking that sort of thing. Excuse me, I will go to bed soon. um, I was lucky that time that the officer that came out, they came out that night because they knew that could trigger me off because the team that was on and it was reported to had dealt with me before, and it was one of the good teams, one of the good officers that have dealt with me, and it was actually a guy this time. He knew the right way to cope with me. Like he knew not to he's one of them that knows not to touch me, not to trigger me off in any way. Obviously they can't always avoid it, but they do the best not to. Yeah, he came out and he was like, I know you didn't ring the 999, but I wanted to get it sorted whilst we were on. And I was like, alright, yeah. And he was like, did you get any other evidence? I was like, well, I haven't washed my clothes. I'd literally just taken them off and thrown them in the washing machine. I hadn't turned the washing machine on yet. He was like, fine, don't worry, you need to wash. It doesn't matter if you wash them or not. I was like, right, okay. And but I did take a picture because I had my phone. And obviously, when I go running, I have a running band with my phone and keys and everything on my arm. So I just quickly grabbed my phone, took a picture, and I was like, I knew there was CCTV, but I wasn't sure how good it was. So I just took a picture and I was like, I've got a picture of the car when it happened. I've had dealings with the police on the other side of it, like that sort of thing before. Like when I used to ride a motorbike, I'd had a problem with them and I'd rung the police on it. So I knew what sort of thing that I needed to show them, what evidence I had. But he knew that could have triggered me off, and he was like, are you okay? Do you want us to get someone to come and sit with you, and I was like, I'm fine. I'd just been for a run. I think I had a morning shift at work, so I'm going straight to bed now. So this would have only been like 11 o'clock at night, because when I have morning shifts, they can start at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, I'm going to bed. Excuse me. Just if I can remember this incident correctly. But he was always like, he was amazing with me. But I keep going off track. I was talking about the incident that happened tonight. I'm just in absolute shock and anger of how I was treated. It states to the police not to, if I'm not kicking off, not to pick me up. If I'm not doing anything dangerous, not to pick me up. If they'd have just asked me without touching me, because that's what triggered me, it was the touching, and that was it. I just couldn't talk to them. If they'd have asked me why I was sat there, I'd have said, I'm sat here because I'm in pain. I was out for a walk, I'm just in pain. And I would have been honest with them. I wasn't out there to do anything. I was out there to try and stop myself from doing something, which I thought was the right thing to do. Because I have a care coordinator, and we talked about this in my last session. And she knows exercise is an amazing thing for me. Some people, they say it's amazing, some people, they don't like it. But for me, I find it amazing and helpful and just the right thing for me to do. So I'll go for a run, I'll go for a long walk. But I've been struggling recently because of my hips. Obviously, I have to stop regularly. Yeah, so I talk about this with my care coordinator, and I know because it's been put, the police were out to me. She's going to ask me about it because she knew about last weekend before I even said anything. She knew about it, and she knew what I'd done, and I explained what had happened, and she was like, right, okay. And we talked about it. We talked about what would be best to do next time. She was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for walks. I'm going to go for a run. And try to clear my head because I know that helps. And she's like, right, that's fine. She's like, what if you can't do that? I was like, I'll message my best friend. My best friend is like the one that's been there for me through everything. Yeah. I'm just realised how long this video is. Yeah. I just thought I'd share today's story. I just thought it was a bit brutal the way they spoke to me. That's why it says it's not clickbait, police brutality. Because I find that as police brutality. I just can't believe it. Thanks, guys. If you want to hear anything else about anything, my work, police, I've still got loads of stories with police. I just thought I'd put this on here whilst it was fresh in my head. Custody suites, as I mentioned before, mental health units, as I've mentioned before. Growing up in the care system in the UK, because I know it's different, because I am watching a YouTuber that are called Be the Village, I think it is. I will have to check. Be the Village, and they are fostering in the USA, and I noticed some of the stuff they're saying is totally different to the care system over here. So if you want to know, pop it in the comments down below. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to be notified whenever I post anything. All I will post is stuff that people ask me for, either on here or on my TikTok account. If you want me to, I'll set up a Instagram. I don't want it linking to my personal Instagram or my personal Facebook because I have lots of friends and family who are easily triggered, and I don't want them watching these videos, especially because I don't tell like my foster family, who I call my family. I don't tell them about this. They know I had a YouTube channel. They know that's why it's not actually got my name on it. They know that I talk about personal stuff. That's why I don't want to bring them into it, because the stuff that they don't know, the stuff that I've just got to be careful with. Obviously, if you ask me anything about my foster family or anything like that, I will have to be careful, because they still foster, and obviously I've got to keep that confidential because of the situation with them. But I can tell you things, because obviously I don't ever mention the names of anyone, like the officers that I've talked about, the units I've been on. I will never tell you which units. I will never tell you where I'm from. You may guess by certain things, but I will never actually divulge this in here. If you leave me a message, I might tell you, depends on what you ask me. But thank you so much, and thanks. Bye.